Good morning, this is Sarah, your Healthy Carnivore UK. I believe we're on day 103, somewhere around there. I've brought my old cameraman and editor with me, but he doesn't want to be in shot. Full disclosure on this video, I'm nothing special. I don't claim to be anything special, okay? So what I'm about to say after that, please don't think there's anything really special about me. There isn't. I spent 9.5 years trying to be the permanent carnivore. 9.5 years. That's how not very special I am. But today I've now completed 103 days of my best ever, strongest, strictest, cleanest stretch of carnivore. I'm on day 5 of lion diet. Just trying to get my health to perfection. Now that's not a lot of days. Some days I look at it and think, wow, that's a lot of days. Other times I look at it and think, not so much. But I know there are people watching my channel who, you know, haven't got that many days yet. I hadn't 104 days ago. My longest stretch before that was back in 2016. It was about 5.5 months and there was one day off in the middle. There was probably some sweetener in there somewhere. It was dirty keto at best. Okay, so this is officially my time. I think my son wants me to take him down this little bit here. Go in front of me. Go in front of me, my gorgeous creature. Don't worry, I won't show you on there, I promise. We're not going to embarrass him, are we? This video is about how to get to 100 days strict. Like I said, I don't consider myself anything special. I'm just somebody, I'm trying to walk down steps while I talk to you. Anything could happen here, right? I'm somebody who just went from wannabe carnivore to successful carnivore. And some of you are probably thinking, Sarah, you're about 103 days. That's not that successful, but it feels like it. I'm going to do 365 days. And that's it. Another day with no sunshine. Brilliant. This video is how to get to 100 days, my tips. Okay, so first of all, we need a very strong why. Doing carnivore, we don't do carnivore for fun. We don't think, oh, I'm just going to eat meat, drink water, just for fun, do we? When I tell people I eat this way, the general consensus is, I couldn't do that. I'm not going to do that. And then the answer quite often might be, maybe you haven't got a desperate enough why, because I believe carnivore is the most healing way you can eat. So maybe your why isn't strong enough. What is your why? We've heard the expression, why that makes you cry. So important. For me, it was following my mum's rapidly deteriorating health over years and years. She started circling the drain at about 38. What does circling the drain mean? It's an expression I've heard quite a lot recently. I believe a lot of humanity are circling the drain right now, and if we keep eating these ultra hyper processed foods the way we are, there's going to be a lot more people joining that circling the drain queue of people that are on their way down and without seriously big change in direction. They're not going to make it. My mum got to 71. She started circling the drain at 38 when she had her hysterectomy. I was 13. I had to take care of the house. Then we had all the other things go wrong with her. And I had to watch all of it. I'm not going to detail all of it because it's depressing. That's a different video. But this is, find your why that makes you cry. What health things are you trying to reverse? And which circling the drain health problems are you trying to avoid? Because maybe you're just not scared enough. Maybe you're just not worried enough. For me, it was finding, what finished me off was finding a slightly dodgy mole on my back, which has now fallen off. It was severe pain in my feet, which is now resolved. And it was a slight mystery pain in my tummy, which is now resolved. Thankfully, those things are not a problem to me now and they're not scaring me now, but I'm still going to keep going because I don't ever want to be frightened. I don't ever want to have to run down the doctors for something. ever. Second tip, I think most people need to hide the bathroom scale. Get rid. Go out to your garage or your shed and find your axe. Call it Albert the axe if you like, and smash it up. Put it in the bin. Get rid. Albert the axe has done his job. You're no longer weighing yourself. I decided not to weigh myself until day 63, and it was a brilliant decision. I am now weighing myself weekly just so that I have something to report, so that I know when I start losing weight, and then I can say to other people as they come into this space later on, do you know what? I didn't start losing weight until day 140 or day 190, whenever that was. I need to be able to know when that was so that I can honestly answer people's questions when they ask me. Tip number 3, eat meat like it's your job. It doesn't matter if you even gain weight. I personally never have. I know there are people who have joined Carnivore who have gained weight. I personally, luckily, never have. I'm just a great big old fat maintainer, okay? I don't gain, which is a relief. But even if you do gain, eat meat like it's your job. It is your only job. Feel hungry? Eat meat. Crave something? Eat meat. Just do it. If you follow that and you don't weigh yourself, you will get to 30 days if it means enough to you. If it doesn't mean enough to you, maybe it's not your time. Don't worry about it for now. Go and do something else, because if it's not your time, you're just wasting more of your time, like I was. It actually took me till I was 48 to hit that point where I was ready. Maybe you're not ready. I am ready. I just asked my son what the next tip should be, and he was thinking exactly the same as what I was thinking. So this is the right tip for next, because he thought of it. Maybe one of us is psychic. That's fun, right? Me and my psychic son. Don't listen to other people. Don't listen to other people about your journey. Keep it quiet, really. I'm only really talking about it on here. I'm trying to keep it as quiet as possible, because they will sabotage you. Worst case scenario, they'll make you things, cook you things, try and kick you off. Try and avoid listening to people as much as you possibly can. That means not even bringing up the conversation until people notice the difference in you. It's when people notice a difference in you, and whenever that might be for you, that might be at week 6, or it might be at week 60. It might be at 1 year or at 6 years, but it's then you can go, well, funny you should mention that. I've been on a very strict elimination diet, and I've removed all the food that harms me. If they're still interested, then go on to Carnivore. That's the way. Just don't get into conversations with people. Try not to tell your doctor, because he will try and talk you out of it. Doctors have zero clue on nutrition. Zero. 95% of doctors have absolutely no idea what humans should be eating, so it's best not to ask them. By all means, get your blood work done if you want to, but if you don't really need to, just don't. Just trust. Look at the way humanity's gone over the last 50 years. So much of humanity is circling the drain. I believe we should be getting to over 100, but most people now are not getting to 80. What's happened? They say don't eat red meat. Red meat consumption's gone down. Everyone's dying. They say don't do this, do that, and don't do this. Find your own path, follow the right doctors, and just do your own thing, and try not to talk to other people about it. Next tip, don't micromanage your diet. You don't need to. When you've made the commitment you're going to be a permanent carnivore, you shouldn't need to. It should be simple. Don't micromanage. When we lived in the olden days, let's go with olden days, because people understand what that means. People weren't sitting around with apps on their phones trying to figure out how much protein they'd consumed, how many fat grams they'd consumed, how many calories they've had. Do you know what? They would eat to supply and eat to hunger. That's it. These days, we don't tend to have much problem with supply, so we can just go with hunger. Done. Feeling a bit peckish? Eat some meat. Craving something? Eat some meat. Someone's offered you a piece of cake and you're worried about it, and you're really worried about it, eat more meat because you've not had enough meat. Because if you've had enough meat, you won't want the cake, right? This is coming from an ex-severe carb addict, ex-sugar addict. Somebody out of control, a severe comfort eater. That's coming from me. Like I said though, I'm nothing special. But if somebody like me can turn themselves around, I reckon there's other people out there that can also turn themselves around. But you've got to have a good why. You've got to commit to no weighing. You've got to commit to no micromanaging. You've got to commit to not worrying about what people think. And you've got to commit to eating meat like a boss. I've just got in the car and thought of my final tip. I was really trying to think of it down by the lake and I just couldn't think of it until I got home. My final tip is, you may need to accept that you're going to have to do some hard things. Now, these things that are hard, they're not going to stay hard. You know, in the first 30 days, 60 days, these things seem really hard to do. And willpower is required. But the longer you get down the path, the less you're relying on willpower and the more you just want to do those things. What am I talking about? The hard things, like somebody you know has baked you your favourite cake and you have to say no. And you don't want to have it. And you're going to have to find a way to perhaps hurt their feelings in pursuit of your own health. When I was leaving my last job, the lady that does all the cake making insisted she made me a cake. I tried to get out of it because I was a couple of weeks in Carnivore. This was the reason I left my old job, because the cakes were just everywhere all of the time and I had to get away from them. And she did break me down, and I do regret letting her break me down, but I was only a couple of weeks in, so it was a lot harder. I do regret it though. I wish I had just said no. If it had happened now on day 103, there's no way that cake would have gone in my mouth. And there was a chance I had to risk. I would have to risk hurting her feelings. And you have to decide what's worse, her hurt feelings or you circling down the drain. And that's a hard decision in that moment. Other hard things. I've been invited out to a Christmas party with my works people, and because they've chosen a sit down sort of set menu plan rather than a buffet, and I have to pay for it myself and it's a lot of money, I've said no, I'm not going to that. I don't think there's anyone else not going except me. And I'm a big sociable person. I love a party. I've always been known as the first person on the dance floor, last person off the dance floor, even completely sober. And I'm not going, mostly out of protest, because I think there's just nothing for me to eat and I'm not going to pay £65. But also, just if I end up eating a little bit of the turkey, I'll end up having a bit of the gravy, and then I'll end up eating a little bit of the broccoli, and we all know what's going to happen. Disaster will strike. So I'm not going. It takes time for your body and mind to catch up with this, and for me right now it's no problem whatsoever. I said in a previous video that if I was invited to some sort of school reunion and it was mostly food based, I probably wouldn't go, because my future health, my current health and my future health is more important to me than people I knew 30 years ago. And so sometimes you have to make hard decisions that might mean you miss out on something. Hard decisions where you are having a terrible, terrible day and you're not going to comfort eat. And in that moment, it's going to be a hard thing to do, but worth it. You might have to upset somebody's feelings and it's worth it. But at that moment, it feels horrible. Doing hard things. It's doing the hard things that's going to give us our health. And, you know, so you've got to be willing, I think, to get to 100 days carnivore and then beyond. I believe I'll be doing a 150-day carnivore, how to survive video, and so on. No, I will be. I will be. There's no doubt. I don't even know why I said that. Scrap that. There'll be a 150-day video from me and a 200-day video from me, how to survive it. And all I can say is, if you want to embark on being carnivore, check these things. Are you willing to do hard things? Are you willing to get rid of your scales for a bit? Are you willing to eat meat like a boss, even if it means you may gain weight or maintain, while you're killing the addiction? Are you willing to ignore your doctor? That's a dodgy one, isn't it? I probably should put a disclaimer in here saying, trust the doctor. They know best. Now back to me. Ignore your friends. Ignore what they're saying. Try not to tell even your friends. Wait till they notice a difference in you first. And just decide what you're willing to do to have health in its perfect place for you. And if you can't complete all those things, maybe it's just not your time. It took me 10 years, nearly 10 years to find my time. It took me 9 years and 8 months to find my time. Did I get that right? It took me 9 years and 8 months to find when I was truly ready. People say, I wish I found carnivore sooner. That's true. But for me, I did find carnivore sooner, but it just wasn't my time. Is it your time? If not, go and do some dirty keto. Go and do something else. But for the love of God, please stay off the seed oils, because I believe they're public enemy #1. They're in everything. They're in cradle to grave, aren't they? They're everything from the baby formula right up to the Ensure in the old people's homes. The sugar keeps us addicted, but the seed oil's in there to poison us, is what I believe. So if nothing else, find something to do that means you don't take in any more seed oils, that you take in minimal amounts of sugar. You eat loads of red meat. Go hypercarnivore. Go 70% meat. Work for my nan. It worked for my grandmother. She lived to 93 with nothing wrong with her. Worked for her. But for a severe, severe sugar carb addict like me, like Mitch, like so many others, it just had to be carnivore. Or nothing. Anyway, I just took my son to get his haircut. The haircut took ages. I thought I was going to end my days in there. In the end, I left him in there and went round the butcher's and got some more stuff. If I remember, I'm going to pop a picture in here now of what they had in there. She had to grind up the ground beef for me. It's fresh. I'm now going to go in there and see if I can eat some raw. I will see you tomorrow on day 104. And then on day 105, there will be a weigh-in to see if giving up the oxalates 100% and going on to Lion has created some more inflammation loss for me. If not, c'est la vie. I'm going to keep going, because this journey has become so much more than weight, so much more than the bathroom scale. It's all about health, 99.9% health, and if I lose a bit of weight, it won't do any harm. Take care of yourself. Hopefully you're going to get some sun. Hopefully you're going to get some to eat loads of lovely meat. I've just bought more than 2 pounds of fatty mince and some lamb chops. It wasn't cheap. Don't tell the husband. But what price do you put on your health? Take care, and I will see you tomorrow on day 104. Are you ready? Is it your time? You decide. See you later. Bye.